Hey everybody, this is Cobalt, and as promised, here's the episode featuring my old Java projects. Now, we're starting in Eclipse here because, well, that's what I used way back when. In 2010, after I stopped making calculator programs and learned Java, that's basically all I programmed until about 2013-ish when I switched to C++ mainly. Now, during that time, I mainly used Eclipse, and I was also fairly prolific as far as interactive stuff goes. I've got quite a few things to show. Now, I'd like to apologize for the delay. I kind of meant to put this out last week, but I kept putting off the recording because I knew that basically whatever I did, it was going to just be all over the place no matter what, simply because there are so many distinct projects to show off, and mashing them into a single showcase doesn't do great for my train of thought. So the thing that's probably the oldest here would be Breakout. This is like my very first interactive graphical program. Made this in junior year of high school as like just the end of first semester project. I think this one works. I said, I think this one works. Had to run it as an applet instead of an application. Alright. Yeah, it's just the game Breakout, and for some reason the window doesn't fit. Real basic stuff. Paddle follows the mouse, and of course the wall doesn't... There. I I changed the window size to compensate. But yeah, this is just a real basic thing. It's not even very consistent as far as its collisions go. I can kind of glitch it, and this is some real hacky code. It's all in one file, and then a real basic draw timer. It doesn't close properly. It's Babby's first graphical application, but it does get the job done. Now don't worry, I'm not going to actually put anyone through an entire game of Breakout. So what should I focus on next? Oh, this one might even actually be earlier, but it's not quite so No, this was later, but I guess I'll show this off too. It was supposed to actually be used for like chemistry formulas, but I only got as far as like showing information about each element on the periodic table. I'm surprised I was patient enough to enter all this information. Here it is. This thing here is just a simple 4-function calculator. I don't know, 7 times 7 equals 49. Simple stuff, and I guess you zero it by just, typing stuff while the result is up. But I think it will still carry if you use an operation here. Yeah, okay. This is about what you'd expect from a 4-function calculator. In my initial Java class, one of my classmates was named Greg. We talked a lot. We kind of traded code sometimes, not like for projects, but like we shared our creations. And he made some pretty cool stuff. I guess I can show some of his stuff off. So this one was called Balls of War, and I cannot see the UI very well, but essentially it's like you can enter some parameters, and then it kind of simulates a battle between a bunch of orbs that just shoot at each other. And you can set all sorts of parameters, and the battles will play out a bit differently. But yeah, I take no credit for this. And unfortunately, I don't have Greg's contact information anymore, so I can't exactly credit him. I sure wish I did, because his stuff was cool, and this is one of 2 Greg projects I'm going to show tonight. Okay, now all the reds are going for this one poor remaining blue. He chose a very dark blue. Unfortunately. Okay, well. Red wins. I guess I'll go for Greg's other game. Funny thing is, there's this one here called Greg's Game, and that doesn't run. Greg's other game is actually Pixels here. Now, this is an interesting one, and it looks really cool. Of course, main doesn't actually run, but applet base does. Okay, so what this one is, we got a dud one this time. Basically, he spawns a giant grid of just pixels, but the pixels kind of interact with each other. Certain colors will cause a neighboring color to turn to themselves, and it basically cascades, and it looks awesome. Oh, okay. We got two obvious cascades showing up here. You can follow my mouse through all this pixel noise. Sometimes they die out while they're this size, but they'll usually, if they take hold early on, they'll usually grow and just fill up the entire screen as they convert pixels on their edge. And then because all the colors will absorb neighboring hues, it will spread throughout the whole affected area and then hit a pixel that will cause it to basically bounce back as the next color, and you get this really cool rainbow influx effect. It also screen wraps too, so eventually these are all going to merge, and you're either going to get the entire screen turning one color or an infinite scroll of rainbow. Depends on how everything comes together. So I'm just gonna let that go for a little while I do some more stuff. Okay, here's a good one to cover early on. This is the polygon field. This was a pure utility program. This is not a game. This was to help me assist in making games, among other uses. So, this is the polygon builder. Click, click, click. So yeah, you just click where you want your vertices to go, and then once you have enough to make the minimum polygon, it'll ghost any remaining vertices in blue. You press enter, and the polygon is formed, and you can start again. Simple as that. You can also backspace to delete all the way. Additionally, right-click shows a better crosshair, and also activates a sort of assist mode when you've got a polygon partly created. So like you can see what exactly the shape is going to look like if it had this new vertex you're about to place. And in addition to the blue line, you can see just how exactly you're changing this shape. Unfortunately, the screen refresh is very messy. This is one of my older programs, but you can hold space to just pan around. You can also load a background image. Oh, come on. Where is it? Polygon, field. I don't remember ever actually using this big letter psi in the polygon builder, but I guess it's just what's available. You can also save and load some configurations. This is apparently just saved with two triangles. Oh well. Now, there's another thing I can load, which is kind of funny, which actually ties into something I'm going to talk about later. Now, this might be a good time to mention that, especially during this time, but also kind of to this day, but quietly, I am a Homestuck. I am into MS Paint adventures, if any of you guys know that. I'm sure some of you do. It's just this silly webcomic that's hard to describe, but if you see anything very specific portrayed, like humans that are just completely black and white or have gray skin and yellow eyes, that's Homestuck. I don't really need to go into more than that. Anyway, I actually have more of these polygon layouts, and this one, by the way, is a very Homestuck related logo. Also, this this polygon builder has a select mode, where you can actually like click on these and drag individual shapes around or delete them by pressing delete. I bet the logo looks even more familiar now. You can also zero your point of view relative to the origin, stuff like that. I'm going to keep this open as well. Let's go back and check on... Whoa! Oh, that's actually pretty rare, but really cool. Sometimes you can get these spirals in Greg's Pixel game, and this like the best effect. This is fully self-sustaining spiral that just infinitely cascades. And eventually, I thought all of these remaining areas are just going to be consumed by the master spiral here, but I'm not sure. This might be in equilibrium now. Yeah, I couldn't get this in testing. I could either get it to solid color or scroll, but I couldn't get one of those spirals working. And I'm really glad that that we were able to get one, when I'm actually recording. I'm going to actually leave this open again and make another one of these because it is real cool. And every time the end result is a little bit different. Wait, no, not the polygon field. Run this one, please. What? I keep forgetting it's the applet base that's the one that does it. Okay, cool. We do have some cascade areas here. This should grow. Here's one that's Homestuck. One that's definitely Homestuck. So, if anyone into Homestuck is here, they'll recognize it. Press enter. Just a silly, stupid little message from me. This is version 2. I used this on somebody else back in like 2012, and then I used it on somebody different in 2013. And this is just a dumb, not very well thought out message, but it does something that the person in question found pretty funny. Oh, look. The people with the gray skin and yellow eyes, they're called trolls. But if you're not into Homestuck, you don't need to know that. Light clip canvas. This was just a real simple experiment sort of thing. I was seeing if I could maybe make a game that was set in a dark environment and give them a flashlight, and I was trying to figure out how to make that flashlight work. So I was trying to see if I could cut pieces out of a dark overlay to simulate the areas that shouldn't be dark, which should still be lit by whatever light source was in the game. I didn't end up making any such game, though. And I apparently didn't make the demo closable, so I'll have to kill it. Ooh, this one's growing. Some of these I'm saving for near the end. Oh, 2D Graviton. This was after I gave up with the Source Engine Graviton. I was gonna just do some basic testing, see if I could make some 2D physics engine thing that did dynamic gravity. Which I didn't end up doing anything with that. Plus, if I did, it would kind of be reinventing the wheel. It would not be hard for me to just put this kind of gravity mechanic into Box 2D or something. It's not worth the effort of trying to roll my own engine for this. So let's get rid of that. Here is more Homestuck, but kind of in a vaguer way. So this one, you control little John Egbert in this corner here, and this was a test of animations and alpha compositing and all that sort of stuff. Lots of translucency in this scene. Kind of trippy, but there's not really a lot going on. I can just kind of slowly walk around behind the big old testing rainbow. Yeah. And also I'm apparently in space with the infinitely diagonally scrolling background of stars. I still want to see how this ends. Here we go. So I think this one runs. What? Socket client. Here we go. I don't know what this is doing, but this is my first test of like connections between programs. So if I create a server and create 2 clients, and then what I can do is hello, submit. It didn't work. Weird. Yeah, I don't remember how this did it, but oh wait. That's right. I had to do say hi. For some reason, this isn't just outright chat. I had to give it like an actual command. But this was just a basic test of connecting a client to a server through sockets. This should, yeah, no longer connected. So that detects itself. Okay, this is finishing up. We'll see how it ends momentarily. Now, funny thing is, I've tried to make sure I remove all personally identifying information from this screen, but you might be able to figure out what college I go to because some class names are hidden in this and some project names are hidden in this as well. I guess that's kind of a little Easter egg. I don't mind if you figure out what college I went to, but I'd hope you don't just figure out my name from this. Okay, this is getting real close to finishing. There's just this little diamond left. I want to be there when it happens. Anyway, more client server stuff. So, the derp server. This is a silly thing that, for some reason, doesn't load properly anymore. So, this does set up a server and a client that connects to it. But for some reason, the resource loading doesn't work anymore. It just kind of freezes when I try to do some stuff. Don't ask why. It's probably something to do with resource loading streams or lack of using resource loading streams. Hell if I know at this point, but I'm not going to expend a lot of extra effort just to get this working again. It's not worth my time because honestly, the derp client and server, there's not much besides that rotating sun. It really just is like you can put multiple mouse cursors in the screen on the screen, one from each client, and they're all in the same space because yay, multiplayer sort of, but not really. So let's watch this finish up while I look for the next thing to do. A lot of other stuff here just isn't very interactive. I guess I could go to Scouter next. And then I can go to the game engine ones, some meat on those. Okay, here we go. Okay, the world is going to end in blue. So this one didn't end up scrolling. This one just ended with a particular pixel taking over. Oh, wait. Wait, no. There is a scroll. Look at that. There is a scroll here. I wasn't sure. It looked like the blue was going to overtake the screen, but no. No, this has got some sustained zigzag that's going to just move left on the screen to eternity. It's kind of interesting how you can get, like, this, but also this. It's all the same program. You can either just get a rainbow zigzag that moves left forever, or you can get this trippy double rainbow spiral with this area in the middle that rainbows itself differently. It's just... Greg made this, and it's a really simple idea, but it just looks awesome. I just wish I could give him credit for it, because I don't have his contact information anymore, sadly. A couple of these are Android stuff that I tried to make. Nothing ever came of any of that, though, so regrettably, I've got nothing in those categories. And besides, I don't even have an Android emulator set up on this. And I also I don't even have the Android SDK downloaded. I can't even go put anything on my phone to demo it. It just isn't going to work. Anyway, Scouter. Does this work? Yes, it does. Now, this was for my high school's first robotics team. I wanted to see if there was a more efficient way to get data entry working. Just to scout other teams. Now, I believe the weird thing is, it basically worked best when I just saved the blank file, and then... No, guess not. Okay, well, I can't seem to get the actual data entry working, but basically it's just, there were just some fields, ways to comment on the other team and whatnot, and there was going to be just a massive list I could use later. We didn't end up using it. It was just kind of a test. Okay, now let's get to some interesting stuff. So, around I don't know, 2013, before I got into C++, I tried to make a game engine. Unfortunately, I never ended up making content for this game engine. I think I split it into 2 different subgroups, and it was going to be called, stupidly, the Pro J2D engine. But there are no resource files in this folder anyway. But if you notice, the name of the title is called iOS-bound. Now, fun fact, iOS-bound is the name of a project that spawned from a roleplay group of mine with Homestuck. For some reason, though, I lost the original source code for all of iOS-bound. However, I do somehow still have a jar for it, and it works. So, we were playing a roleplay as trolls, and we got the idea of having a little walk-around segment, kind of like Earthbound or Alternia-bound, if you know about Homestuck. And this is just a simple little demo with some music put together by a different member of the group. So I just click here. It's going to be a little loud, but I made sure to lower OBS's system volume capture. There's actually no scenery at all left in this. Well, there never was. This was literally just a demo of the character, the ability to walk around the scene and all that. I can control it with the WASD keys. Yeah. He's just gonna walk in the void forever. I kinda want to show more of the music, but I don't think the viewers have the attention span for that. Plus, I didn't make the music. So I don't think it would be right to give it too much, to focus on it too much in a video when I can't give the credit to the guy. But the last project is probably also Homestuck, but it's also the most realized of my games projects. That's still not a whole lot to say, but it actually has content, it loads properly, and it's a somewhat more interactive than the iOS bound thing. So I'm going to load this one. If I can remember, does this one work if I just run from this menu? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Durstbound. So this is Durstbound is the one that I have the code open for right here. For some reason, I have code to either run the intro or jump straight into the game. I can't do one after the other, so it's set to just play this little intro animation right now. There's actually supposed to be some music going with it as well, but that just didn't work for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, it's supposed to, in the final version, it was supposed to do this and then cut into the next scene. But for some reason, I don't have the logic to actually hand it over, so I'm just going to change some comments, and now it goes straight into this. Notice there's two of this character here. I also have blue boxes to denote the hitboxes of everything, and some objects, even with or without blue, have just hitboxes of their own. So this one is a little bit more advanced than the iOS bound engine. I can actually walk diagonally. I have collision, and I can interact. You can see the yellow square in front of my character's foot hitbox. That is actually the interaction square. So so the only other interactive thing is this clone here. If I press it, I can either be will or I can cancel. If I cancel, I just go about my business. If I be will, I am now controlling this character, which is the same character, because I didn't put in any other sets of animation, so this is the only one I had to work with. Yeah. There was music that's supposed to be playing, but hey, I've got like a bedroom I can walk around in, and actually, this collision system, even while it's homegrown, it's probably the most robust collision system I've homegrown. It's like saying a wheel you've reinvented, actually rolls smoothly. If I push him against like a diagonal wall, which there are none of in here, he will actually kind of move up it, which is cool. And yeah, that's about the extent of this demo here. But the reason I kept the polygon builder open actually is because if I go into the Java bound folders here, into resources, polys, room 1 test, look at this. It's the room's hitbox. Let me just open it for comparison here. This is the room's hitbox. I actually made the hitbox for this room in Durstbound with my polygon builder. So I got two of my projects interacting in one thing, which I find kind of cool. The reason why Will is able to walk into all of these and stop is because I made a bunch of shapes in the polygon builder. I don't think this is the exact collision map, though, because apparently these two are separate. Although it might be a case of, I don't even know, but this was used to create this collision map. I just find that interesting. I also did some homegrown animation stuff for that little zoom in. It's really stupid now that I think about it, but like I basically made text-based animation triggers. Basically, I say for that animation, create this at time 0 with these parameters. It's very hard to read, and I just parse it on my own. It's kind of weird looking back, but like at time 302, I guess, I start moving it for a certain duration. Or maybe 302 is the duration? Hell if I know. Maybe it's time 125. I'm guessing this game would have 100 ticks per second, maybe? So like a second and a quarter? Or maybe not. Like, maybe this was 30 based on frames per second. But then, why am I seeing so many 25s and 50s in the timestamps? Maybe these aren't even timestamps. I don't know. I don't remember the syntax anymore. Because I wouldn't do this nowadays. I'm not sure what I'd use, but like, if I had to specify something in text, I'd probably use like JSON. This is just hard to human read, even if I was able to get it so that the game read this. Yeah. So I've made a lot of stuff over the years, and I've also made some friends along the way. Now, nowadays, I do still program. In fact, that is my job. I work mainly with C++ and Python. Now, I do have a little bit of interactive C++ content, but I'm going to save that for another episode because all of the stuff that I actually got working in C++ is fairly more substantial, enough to probably each get its own episode. But it's also stuff I'm a lot more protective over, so I'm not even sure if I'm going to make such an episode. I think there's one project I will happily make, but I don't know if I'm ready to show the world the Nerve game engine, which is still not exactly much of a game engine, but it's kind of a proto-game engine. I don't know. But yeah, those are my old Java projects. I think that I covered everything that I still have access to. It's kind of a shame none of this really got all that realized. In fact, I would love to be able to show you the Surge data exchanger or the swap client and server, but I just can't get them working anymore. But yeah, I've got a lot of history in this folder. Just all my programming from several years span is just together. And I just think that's cool. But hopefully that was interesting, just seeing the nature of some old little mini game projects that never really went anywhere, but have a little bit of potential nonetheless, and kind of paved the way for me to do what I'm doing now, even if my current work isn't actually game dev. Oh well. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to have any other episodes out in the next week or two, but if so, I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.